Welcome to Worldview Tube's Washington Report on September 16th, 2025. I am joined here by Jim Pfaff of the Conservative Caucus.org. Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Logan?
Good. We got a lot to cover today. Well, this first clip.
Oh boy.
This first clip, get ready. It might make your blood boil, but what is this? MSNBC? Is that what it? No, ABC. ABC News is turning Charlie Kirk's assassin into a love story. Watch this.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it, but also it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate, who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love. So it was this duality of someone who the attorney said not only jeopardized the life of Charlie Kirk and the crowd, but was doing it in front of children, which is one of the aggravating circumstances of this case. And on the other hand, he was, speaking so lovingly about his partner. So a very interesting and, as Pierre said, riveting press conference, David.
It was.
What is he trying to say here? Is he trying? I mean,
all I know is I want to puke right now. Let's just put a marker right here. I know we got another thing we're going to do where I said marker. Sorry, this is going to be redundant. But let's just put a marker right here on the corrupt mainstream media that has literally lost its freaking mind. I mean, this is absolutely the most disgusting and absurd report I think I've ever. This may eclipse the most disgusting, absurd report that I've ever seen in a media outlet. What are they going to make a love story, made for TV love story out of this thing, where the Charlie Kirk thing's kind of in the background, but it's really about the struggles and trials of this lovely couple. These people are so committed to an insane view of anthropology, of human nature and human being. They're committed to this trans thing so deeply that the absurdity of it is crazy. You cannot get truth from American media on the left. It is impossible. And I am so disgusted. These people need to be called out. This is an outrage it's a total outrage. Charlie Kirk is dead. He was murdered. And his family is left young family is left abandoned for the rest of their lives. And I'm sure Erica Kirk will bring it all together eventually for herself. But I mean, she's lost the love of her life. Her children do not have a dad, will never have a dad. And you're even discussing anything touching about the murderer? It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even understand why you would want to talk about his love life. I mean, other than to tie it into the fact that we're seeing a pattern here, but to call it touching is...
Oh, it's absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
This is an inhuman murderer who premeditated the killing of a man who has a wife and children, who is in the conservative movement. The story here is that leftist outrage that has been perpetrated in this country over the last 10 years and beyond is crazy. It is insane, and we got to call it out. This is another reason why, Logan, you've already heard me say it. I want no unity with elected Democrats or with the leftist media. No unity at all. These people are absurd. They're trying to destroy our country. They're tearing down what matters, and this is just one of many examples of it.
Yep. And we've kind of seen, this isn't the first time that the left has taken a brutal killing like this and glorified it and glorified the killer, as we saw a couple months ago with the healthcare CEO killer, Luigi Mangione, who the terroristic charges were just dropped on him today, and there was crowds in the street celebrating that he wasn't being charged for the terroristic charge got dropped.
The radical left in this country is as bad as any third world country. First of all, let's just point that out. It is a death cult. It's an absolute death cult. The 25% of Democrats who praise the murder and destruction, and polls show that they have, you've seen a lot of these polls, I know, in the past too, that show that it's acceptable to kill a political opponent.
Yeah.
I mean, the 25% of Democrats who support this sort of thing, and unless they reject what just happened on this ABC thing, every elected Democrat that will not renounce this, it's a death cult. And I seek no unity with people like this. They're disgusting, rude. They are inhumane. And they can barely be called humans in a sense. This is really an outrage, and it's got to be called out for what it is.
Yep. And our next clip, you tweeted out saying, as I've been asserting everywhere, the left in this country is a Maoist communist movement, and this is a perfect example of it.
Go ahead and play it. Yeah, this is absurd.
So the day after Charlie Kirk died, I was in class. My teacher said, I'll give you 5 minutes for hot takes about Charlie Kirk. I was the only person who raised their hand. I said, I've been saying we need to bring back political assassinations. I don't feel bad, and I don't think that everyone deserves the right to free speech. I think some people should be afraid to express their opinion in public. So this class is literally about revolution in China. All of our readings for this month have been talking about how violent revolution liberated millions of people, it liberated women. And then our reading for that day was specifically about democratic dictatorship, where Mao writes about, yes, people deserve free speech, but there should not be free speech for reactionaries and imperialists and like capitalists and all these people who were enemies of the revolution, because that would reverse the progress that was made. So the day after Charlie...
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what Joe Biden's administration did, literally. And the Democrats in this country, the radical left, they are Maoist communists. They're by the way, they're not even as good as Russian communists, right? Because Maoist communism, which fomented a cultural revolution, which at the end of the day ended up killing 10 millions of people. I mean, he didn't just want to take free speech away, Mao. He killed all of his political opponents, everyone that opposed him. He literally snuffed their lives out. Now, I'm not saying that Democrats are at the snuff life out part now, but this is where all that begins. And you could look a generation ahead if the radical leftists in this country are able to continue down the path that they're presently on. You could very well see such a thing. They're not committed to the Constitution. The First Amendment is sacrosanct. Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. There is nothing that government can do to go after speech, even hateful speech, even misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. That is a sinister way to intimidate people to not oppose you politically. And that has to be opposed at every corner. Like all of us, you and I and your dad, and we've been, and others, we've been opposing this for a long period of time. But the American people are getting a taste of what Democrats are really about. It is a radical, violent movement. Leftism in this country is a radical, violent movement. That includes AOC, all the squad, the people in the Democrat Party that think that way, Mamdani in New York. These people will go to this length to shut you down. That is their agenda. They will implement what they're doing at any cost in any manner that they see fit. And that is not, first of all, it's not democratic, and at least in the term that they imply. It's not democratic, and it's also destructive to society. This has to be overcome. It needs to be shut down and shamed in every way possible.
Yeah, and we're finding more and more people on the left, groups, organized groups on the left that are promoting violence and political violence. Tonight, my dad will be talking about, have you heard of Armed Queers of Salt Lake City?
Oh, no, I haven't.
There's a group in Salt Lake City called Armed Queers, and it's a group of queers who promote that they're armed and ready for the revolution. And they actually were promoting that they had just gotten back from a trip to Cuba and were marching with the Cubans.
It's crazy. This is every one of the worst fears of this country in the McCarthy era. are starting to come through true right now. And as I've said in interviews, I've said here, I think before too, the radical campus movements in the 1960s were not Russian communists. They were Maoist communists. This has been simmering and growing for a long period of time. They have sought to undermine society and take out people by any means necessary that oppose what their program is. And their program is a communist program. I mean, you can't see it as in any other light. When you want to take away liberties that are God-ordained liberties, that we recognize to be God-ordained liberties, and when you put the power in government to determine what liberty is, that is a recipe for big disaster. And that's exactly what they believe. Tim Kaine, Virginia senator, told us that last week. Rights come from government in his mind. And if you believe rights come from God, you're just like the Iranian mullahs. That's the way the Democrats think. And I'm not exaggerating to say that's how they think. It is how they think. That is their ideological construct, and we will oppose it in every way.
Yep. Well, in other news, Dan Bongino testified, or I guess was questioned in front of Congress today, and he got into it with Adam Schiff. Here's that clip.
People to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No. I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're
inmates.
not in the weeds?
What I am doing is protecting this country, providing historic reform, and combating the weaponization of intelligence by the likes of you. And we have countlessly proven you to be a liar in Russiagate, in January 6th. You are the biggest fraud to ever sit in the United States Senate. You are a disgrace to this institution and an utter coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money for your charade. You are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of the California. We are bringing historic reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
you said I'm the most transparent
situation.
FBI director in history. 33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Both of you be quiet.
It got quite interesting.
You said Dan Bongino is Kash Patel.
Okay.
Kash Patel said what we all know and believe. I mean, you know, I posted this video and I made this comment today on X. I said that there are a lot of political debates where people get all ruffled feathers and, you know, it's like a cat fight and who knows what's real and what's wrong. This one is abundantly clear. Adam Schiff is a fraud and a liar. I mean, and Kash is right to point out he's a disgrace to that institution. People like Adam Schiff are what destroy this country. He is a confirmed liar. He's lied for a living for more than a decade now in his time in Congress. It is an absurd thought to think that this guy represents anything American in any way. And frankly, who knows? But there very well may be criminal things that he's undertaken because of his pushing of the Russia hoax in January 6th. He lied and lied and lied and lied. Kash was right to go after him. And I'm very proud of the fact that this is our FBI director who's willing to do that.
Yeah, he definitely did not hold back there. That's for sure. And we got more clips coming out of there, including him with Cory Booker and Senator Hirono? I don't know. I've never heard of her.
Hirono. Daisy Hirono, from Hawaii.
We got an interesting clip with her and Kash when we come back. We'll be right back after this break.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab, and here you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
All right, welcome back from the break. It looks like Senator Hirono is upset that the DEI hiring has been stopped in the FBI. Here's this clip.
One question I had is, that you are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents
So are you requiring
appropriately
these
assessed.
kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy
Excuse me,
and put
the
him in
reason I
handcuffs, you
asked-
better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing
Anyway,
one pull-up
Mr.
is not
Patel,
harsh,
I
and there are
am
always
greatly
medical
concerned.
exemptions to that.
Doing one pull-up is not harsh. I think you should be able to do more than one pull-up to be an FBI agent.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. She's an absurd person as well, too. I mean, she does defame the institution as well. She's not smart. She is corrupt in her political activity because all she cares about is destroying her opponents. This is the hallmark of Democrat politics, is to utterly destroy political opponents, not to have debates and may the best man win, not to have legislative fights on the floor and see who can get the votes. They are for all-out war on their opponents, and we just saw the result of that. As I've said, I'm not saying that elected Democrats are directly responsible for Charlie Kirk's death, but they are tangentially culpable. They are culpable because of the way that they do politics, the language that they use, and what they're willing to do to get what they want. They are willing to twist a system in any way possible to obtain the power they want. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not believe in the constitutional construct. They live in their minds in a different America than actually exists, and we're going to oppose them in every way.
Yep. And I know we've been critical of Cash and, on some things, but here Cory Booker tries to talk about him being taken out as FBI director, and Cash lays out why they've done a good job, according to him. Listen.
Mr. Patel, in just 8 months, you have assaulted the institutional integrity of the FBI. But I know FBI field agents. I've worked with them in Newark. No matter how truly bad you are, you can't undermine the legacy of agents who fight every day to keep us safe, but you can tarnish the integrity of the agency and undermine the agency's capacity. I believe you're failing as a leader, and that your failure does have serious implications for the safety and security of Americans and our families. We're more vulnerable to domestic and foreign attack because of your failures of leadership. I don't think you're fit to hand the Bureau, but here's the thing, Mr. Patel. I think you're not going to be around long. I think this might be your last oversight hearing. Because as much as you supplicate yourself to the will of Donald Trump and not the Constitution of the United States of America, Donald Trump has shown us in his first term and in this term, he is not loyal to people like you. He will cut you loose. This may be the last time I have a hearing with you because I don't think you're long for your job. But I'm going to tell you this. I pray for you. I pray for you that you can step up and defend your oath, defend the Constitution, and do a much better job of defending this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you want to say anything?
Yes, sir. That rant of false information does not bring this country together. If you want to work on bringing this country, it's my time, not yours.
My God.
If you want to talk about
dividing this country,
it is my
I follow
time.
you on your social media posts that
It is
tear
my
this country
time
apart.
to address
There should be a
your falsehoods.
Oh,
You are an
you can try
embarrassment
all
to the
you
division
want
in this country.
to not take
It is my
responsibility
time.
for what
You
you
had
have
your
said.
time.
Sir, you're
Your
making
time
a
is
mockery of this
over.
committee. Sir, you don't tell me my time is over.
You
The
know how
people
far
of New
we've
Jersey
come
tell me
since
what my
you
time is.
Senator-
You can't lecture me.
You can tell me
Sir,
my time's
you
over?
You may be the charge of the
I'm
FBI,
not going anywhere.
but I am not afraid of you, sir.
Mr. Chairman,
Not afraid of you.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Senator Booker, I announced at the beginning of this meeting that this back and forth, talking over each other, doesn't work. And I said if that happened, I asked Patel not to respond, and I was going to give him some time after the senator's time was up to respond. And he has the privilege.
All right. Well, Patel goes on to say, to lay out that they have 23,000 violent felons arrested this year alone, 6,000 weapons seized, 15,000 child predators arrested, 300 human traffickers jailed, 4,700 missing children found, and 1,600 kilograms of fentanyl seized. Booker's just putting on a show, is he not?
Oh, of course he's putting on a show. I mean, he's a liar like the rest of them.
Yeah.
Listen, people have been critical of Kash Patel. I initially was getting a little worried because I didn't see actual results. I've tried to hold my fire, and frankly, right now, I have a lot of confidence in Kash Patel. I think he's the right man for the job at the right time. There is no way Donald Trump's getting rid of Kash Patel. That is the most absurd thing I've ever seen. And Cory Booker is attempting, he's throwing in what people in the cryptocurrency community call FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. He's trying to throw those things in at Kash. Obviously, Kash, in his brain, he's got an excellent brain and a very skilled ability at looking through things. Obviously, he's not going to fall into that. And people were being very critical of him about the investigation that just happened in Utah to find the shooter. After the press conference today, there is no doubt Kash Patel had this in hand. The local authorities had it in hand too, and he was a positive part of what was taking place. So, go along, Spartacus. We don't need you. You're an absurd part of what is a failed and flawed un-American party, the Democrat Party.
Yep. Well, we have other news here. Trump put out a True Social today. He said, shockingly, I've just learned that Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is in his final stages of approval to build low-income housing in Pacific Palisades. How unfair is that to the people that have suffered so much? Newsom allowed their houses to burn by not accepting hundreds of millions of gallons of water from the Pacific Northwest. And now the low-income housing starts rising long before he gets permits for California citizens to rebuild. But long after the federal permits were issued. And he goes on from there. So Newsom's been, I've heard him denying this other times, but it sounds like this is what they're doing.
It's theft. It's stealing. It should be criminal. I mean, this is why you need limited government. Because and this is why we need to keep pushing the meme, taxation is theft. Now, this isn't taxation. This is another item. But this is literally the government of California, or maybe it's happening by means of local LA government. They are literally stealing people's property. And they did so by making it impossible for them to get building permits so that they could build their homes. And they're blaming it, in effect, on the property owner and taking it away from them because they ended up stealing that property from them by making it impossible for them to fix the property. You know, every one of those homes should either be already rebuilt or long down the path of getting rebuilt. And it's not just whatever particular land for this property that they were trying that they're going to develop for low-income housing. It's everybody. So this is one of the most absurd aspects of what is horrible criminal government. And again, Democrats are not an American party. They are a communist, Maoist communist party that is intent upon undermining this country, removing every one of our rights from us, and to take it upon themselves. They will use the government power to get what they want, and they are not authorized to do so, either in the Constitution, not even in their state constitution. So this is a farce. It's a fraud. It's literally a fraud, and it should be made a criminal fraud. And I hope Donald Trump takes severe action on them for doing this.
Yep. Well, in other news, Pam Bondi's been out there today, and I think it was yesterday too, talking about the people who are celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder while we think it's terrible they're doing it, and they should lose their jobs if I were their boss, and if they're government employees, as we said yesterday, they should be fired. But Pam Bondi's talking about going after them for hate speech. And do you want to play the clip you put out, or do you want to say it now?
Go ahead. Yeah,
All right.
I'll comment on it after.
Here we go.
I heard something very disturbing this morning. AG Pam Bondi says that she intends to target people who praised the death of Charlie Kirk. Now, let's be very clear here what the First Amendment says. The First Amendment says, in no way, it's unambiguous, in no way may the government abridge free speech. That includes what we might call hate speech. Even Charlie Kirk spoke against that and said that hate speech is free speech. If she's going to target people who praise the death of Charlie Kirk, it's not even under her authority to do so. Now, I do propose that every employer, private and public, who has an employee who praised the death of Charlie Kirk, I don't see how you can have that person in your employ. I think every private business needs to consider that, because how can you want someone who thinks that way working for you? You can't trust them if they have that kind of a hateful attitude. I also call upon all government entities, federal, state, and local, to get rid of any employee who would have praised Charlie Kirk's murder. I think you can get rid of them for cause. There are 49 states that are at will employment. You can do that anytime you want. That's the same for government employees too. You can get rid of them for cause, and you should do so. We definitely don't want teachers who think this way. I don't think we want any government employee who thinks this way. I hope, Pam Bondi, you didn't mean precisely what you said in that interview. You have no authority to target people who use hateful speech. The Constitution forbids it.
Yep. And who classifies hate speech? Who defines hate speech? How could someone not come along later and say, if you're a Christian and you stand up against Islam or speak out against, LGBTQ in classrooms, then you're not performing hate speech, and you should be locked up for it.
Yeah, it's an absurd notion. And by the way, the First Amendment's designed specifically to protect hate speech. Why does it do that? And that seems shocking, I'm sure, to some people who hadn't really thought about it. But the reason it does that is because the way that speech should be adjudicated is in the public square. Bad speech should be opposed and clarified. We got to get back to the concept of shame in this country. Shame is a protector. And now the media is going to say, well, yeah, and that is what they've been doing, but they have the power to do it. They have been given power by working with government entities to promote their ideas. We were shut down from opposing that on social media in the Biden administration because of the censorship industrial complex. If you go down this road, if you're going to pass laws to deal with this kind of speech, which Congress has no authority to do by the Constitution, Congress cannot pass laws to abridge freedom of speech in any way. Now, by the way, there are some people that are inciting to violence. That is not protected speech. That's a criminal act. So, but that's not the people that, at least in her statement, that were being talked about. That, this idea of people losing their jobs for saying this, that is one way that we adjudicate this problem of so-called hate speech in the public square. because you have a right to say whatever you want, but you have no right to be insulated from the consequences of what you say. So the worst speech should have consequences in the public square, in culture, and elsewhere. There should be consequences to that, not criminal ones where people beat up on people, but where people are called out for their bad behavior when they have bad speech. But the kind of speech that she is saying, at least in the statement she made, that she wants to deal with, it honestly has an analogy to what we just went through in COVID and through the Biden administration that was attempting to shut down so-called misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. It's the same, it's just the other side of the same coin. It is censorship. So we don't want to do that. Now, if she has people like the famous leftist podcaster Destiny, who was literally saying recently that people need to be afraid of getting shot if they're conservatives, that is an incitement to violence. That should be investigated. If she's going to undertake those, if that's what she really meant, then fine. I mean, I'll just say she misspoke. But if she really does want to take on people just for saying hateful things, the government has no authority to do that. And we need to push back on it. And frankly, there's been a huge amount of pushback by conservatives on that. And it's been very effective because she's attempted to try to fix her problem later in the day.
Yep. And Destiny just lost his account, by the way, for his streaming platform. And now he's out crying about how that was all of his income. But I guess that's the consequences.
That is the consequences. Listen, you should not be able to make money if you say stupid crap.
Yep.
If a platform wants to let you make money for doing that, that's fine too. But Destiny, in his particular instance, he was inciting violence. And he did it on Piers Morgan. He doubled down on it. He was on a couple Piers Morgan programs saying exactly the same thing. So that is a much different thing than just saying stupid crap.
Yep. We're all out of time. We'll be back tomorrow at the new show. Until then, take care.
Tonight on the Worldview Report, the Trump administration zeroes in on a historic trade agreement with China that may include the sale of TikTok. 67% of U.S. workers are now living paycheck to paycheck. A BLM activist in Boston is poised to plead guilty to stealing funds from a nonprofit. 2 suspects were arrested after allegedly planting an incendiary device under a Fox 13 news vehicle on Friday and attempting to ignite it in Magna, Utah. President Trump announces a second kinetic attack on alleged Venezuelan narco-terrorist. All these stories and more